Good morning, everyone. Have you here? As I said, Steve, you're well known as a business and strategy coach around the Central West. But for our regular viewers who might not know, I guess, you or your business, can you tell us a little bit about your journey to the Central West and a little bit more about your business?
Certainly. Stone, particularly with everything we've been through recently. But we've been in the Central West for about 8 years. We came through from Brisbane because my wife's family comes from Bathurst. So she wanted to go back there, and I said, I can run my business anywhere, doesn't really matter. And we started off as Central West business leaders as well. And again, it was really just around making it easy for business people to get together and to do business together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's that networking and connecting people. And it's kind of one of the roles that RDA Central West plays, connecting businesses with support and access to services, which I think has been probably more important now as a result of COVID than prior.
Absolutely. I guess to getting good staff, and that's often around finding staff that have the right attitude, that want to learn, have a strong work ethic, want to get stuck in and be the best that they can be. Can be quite difficult at stages, and that I often get that complaint since on job seeker, and particularly in the hospitality industries and things like that. So some staff have decided that they just prefer to stay home and enjoy the pandemic rather than working. And I mean, that's their choice, but it makes it really hard on employers.
Absolutely, absolutely. Another thing that I think you've spoken about is you really focus on helping businesses that have to pivot.
Certainly. So part of that is really looking at your goals, business goals are, and then trying to align them, and essentially looking at what your real why is, why you're actually in business. Okay. And give you a classic example. A lot of retailers since the pandemic, a lot of those have actually decided and finally taken the plunge to start getting those here. So it's kind of been good in a way to really sort of wake people up and go, you need to do something now. You may well have been successful in the past, but times have changed and you need to keep up with what the customers want. And if you don't do that, you won't.
If you don't, you might be left behind.
You will be left behind.
Yeah.
The other thing is investing in yourself. So a lot of business owners I speak to, and I say, well, when's the last time you did a course, went to a seminar? I say, well, you've got to invest in yourself. You really do need. And once you start doing that for yourself, then start investing in your people and doing exactly the same. And there's a non-for-profit in Bathurst, and I won't mention their names, but they had very little training and investing in their people, and they had a continuous look up, and that's exactly what he's done. And they've invested a lot of money in their people. Their retention rate for staff is just fantastic now. And people love working there because they know that the organisation cares about them, and they've spent that to often very vulnerable people at the end of the day as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Something a previous guest or person I've met previously said to me, that you employ for will and train for skill. And I think
yes, love it.
You can use that one. But I think that's right. If you invest in your staff and they're feeling valued and part of a team, I think then they invest themselves in their business journey. And I guess what was the key learning that you gained from that?
Okay, so one of my major clients many years ago, when I was running the recruitment side, and they were about 80% of my business. Anyway, a few years ago, it was 2008, after the GFC hit, they decided that they were going to withdraw from a lot of countries and go back into the United States. So when they called me in, I thought, oh man, I'm in trouble, like I must have done something wrong. And I came in and they told me what they were doing, and I probably changed colour. In a real wake-up call, because I'd been really complacent and I got kind of lazy too. So because I just backwards, and I placed literally hundreds of people in that organisation, I didn't have to go and look for other work, and I certainly did after that day, I can tell you. But it ended up working out really well, and I ended up placing a lot of the perms that left there with temps. So they took about 18 months to withdraw, and I ended up having 2 record years through the GFC. So I was extremely lucky. But what it taught me was gaps.
Yeah, it's really good advice actually. Just putting all your eggs in one basket could sometimes come back to bite you, and I guess that's really good advice for businesses here as well, to diversify, I guess, your base a little bit to kind of give you a bit more protection.
Definitely. Well, even diversifying your products and services as well. So not only do we focus on our coaching and strategy, but we saw also We've got others that can keep us going.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess that's probably been even more evident now in the current environment, that businesses have had to be able to be adaptable and pivot. And I think those that have been able to either, as you said, open up new opportunities for them for the longer term. Now, one of the things that you pride yourself...
Treat others as you would like to be treated. And I try to do that with suppliers, customers, staff, them really well. So, for example, when we're dealing with suppliers, when I've got the cash there, I pay them straight away. So I don't worry about if it's a 30-day invoice or anything like that. As soon as it comes in, we pay it, because we build that relationship up with them. So if I do get to a point where cash flow is a little bit difficult for that month, I can ring them and say, oh look, we're going to be a little bit... Again, we always treat our suppliers really well, because without them, I can't run my business. So they really are VIPs. And the same with some of the contractors that we have, that your customers. You got to love your customers. Whatever my customers want, if I can do it, we do it. So it's, the customer's a king.
Customer is always right, as I was told.
I learned that when I was about 16, and I just don't think it's changed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, we'll come back to that, because that was kind of something
next year.
We might have to put the link up to that one after this morning's chat for anyone that's just planning for next year. If someone could play you in a movie of your life, who would get the gig and do a good job?
Okay, so a short Clint Eastwood in my early days, and probably Danny DeVito these days, birthdays and things like that, and it's just friggin' awesome.
Okay, 92 in Bathurst. There you go. Nice plug for them. We'll put their link up. So for anyone that's looking for somewhere to take someone special this weekend.
It really is. It's great.
Now, what are you currently reading, watching, or listening to?
Okay, so I've just started reading The Infinite Game by Semmens, and in relation to the Infinite Game as well, is looking at the world from an infinite perspective in relation to, I'm not competing for just this part of the pie. We make the pie bigger. And that's really what I want for the Western region. We're not just Bathurst, we're not just Orange, we're not just Lithgow, we're not just...
We'll put that up after today. And the last one for you, Steve, you've interacted with a lot of businesses over the journey, but what's one business idea you wish you'd come up with yourself?
I really wanted to find somebody that could invent time travel. So I'm still looking for
Ambitious.
Because I think it'd be great to...
Question for you, I guess, and something that you focused on through your Persuaders group. It's about collaboration and supporting businesses and networking. And I think that's probably been enhanced in our region as a result of COVID. I know in our space, RDA, the way we've been working with other not-for-profits and the government agencies is really...
So it's really mixing with other people who are running businesses, because more often than not, the problems that you and challenges that you're having are exactly the same, and coming together on a regular basis and sharing ideas and working out solutions for everyday problems is just a massive but it's not only that, it's also helping each other out. So if your feed comes up on the Facebook page and you know the person and you're happy to recommend them, share it, let people know what they're doing, like it, love it, whatever it may be. And do that on a regular basis. That you really...
Businesses in the same boat.
Exactly. And the other thing with networking is that that's often where you get new opportunities, new innovations, and new business. Yeah, you meet somebody and you go, oh, well, I like them. I want to find out more about them. So I'll take a bit of time to do that, and you spend a bit of time with them.
Out there, what are a couple of tips? And have you had any bad experiences as an MC that you can share with us this morning?
So in relation to becoming an MC, or at least speaking, it's really important for business owners to be able to present their own ideas and what their business... Opportunity to MC, whether it might be your local Rotary Club or Lions Club, and you want to run the meetings or things like that, just get up and give it a go. And basically with MCing, you can first follow the formula, and you're often following a run sheet anyway, so it's not too bad. So, yeah.
Okay, Toastmasters, give it a go. Any funny stories that have happened after all the events that you've MC'd over the years? Or
so, when I originally started MCing, I used to carry around a baseball bat. So that It was run well and truly on time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, Backing Business Forum, 20th and speakers. We've got Steve as the MC. We'll put the link up after this morning's chat for any of those businesses that are out there looking for some additional support and some access to some great advice and tips. That'll be where you need to be on the 20th of November. But look, one of the things that I do remember checking up on or reading about, Steve, when I was doing a bit of research for this morning's chat, was one of the previous blogs you put up was talking about, I guess, the employer earlier, but you said employers have to invest to create a high-performing work environment. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
They do first, then really start investing in their staff, okay, in relation to training, to team building, to constantly learning all the time. Like as a solopreneur, I spend about $5,000 to $10,000 a year investing in my own personal development. I do that off my own bat. And it's really could end up being if you're a business owner, you're a role model for your staff. So if you're out there getting drunk on the town and things like that and doing silly things, your staff are going to see that and they're going to do exactly the same thing. If you are running a business type business like hospitality or retail, but it's going to come out and your staff are going to treat people the same way. So you need to ensure that you're a great leader and role model for your people to follow.
And look, I'll put the link up to the Persuader website after today's chat.
Sure.
But another great blog that was on there that had a couple of good tips was you were talking about the 8 building blocks, I guess, of creating that high performance business or company. And 2 that stayed with me was the need for a compelling vision and strong ethics and values.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on, I guess, the compelling vision aspect of it and those ethics and values?
So often that's not articulated. And if your staff don't know the reason you're in business, they're going to assume you're only there to make a profit and they will treat you accordingly. But if your vision is, we want to help the most vulnerable people in our society, and that's your true authentic vision, internally throughout the organisation, and staff will get on board with that. In fact, some staff will want to come and work with you because of that vision. And it's something that has to be, it's not something that you just give them at the start when you're inducting them. It's something that has to be consistently seen throughout the organisation on a constant basis, and that you're setting that example for whatever that compelling vision is to anybody else that you interact with. And it's really critical if you want to be a high performance company to have that compelling vision.
A strong vision narrative around why you're in business, the type of business that you want to be. That can be a bit of a sales point as well, a point of difference that you can then leverage for your sales and for your business as well. And
exactly.
I guess we touched on it earlier, but ethics and values, why? And I guess it kind of feeds into that because it fosters a good sense of work culture, I guess.
Yeah, so a lot of organisations, particularly if they're based on values, but don't actually spell that out, so people don't know. So people want to know about that. They want to know that you, it might be that you care about the environment, or it might be that you... That's not a COVID cough. There's a lot of people, a lot of business people support all the local sporting clubs and cultural events and theatre and the Stedfords and things like that. But they don't necessarily tell people that because employees, if they see that, will go, well, you know, some of the organisations will give their employees a day off a quarter to go and volunteer and help other organisations that need assistance, which, you know, could be something like, just trying to think, you know, volunteering for the B2B and all those sort of things, or maybe, I don't know, the Seymour Centre or things like that. But
a small way that we could support them during a tough time.
Most definitely. And with the ethics and values is when times get tough, you can be almost persuade yourself to do things that you normally wouldn't do. And I just urge you not to do that. Stay with your values, stay with your strong ethics, because people will see that and it'll be a demise of your business.
Yeah, no, it's good advice. And I guess we've touched on a lot with a lot of businesses for our region over the next 12 to 18 months.
Well, I think our region is very lucky compared to a lot of, I can see very, very stable, but a lot of businesses are being very innovative as well. So I tend to think that there's going to be a lot more growth out here. I'm an optimist, so I truly believe that the glass is half full and that there will be on that particular marketplace. And I really think that regional people are very innovative. They're great at pivoting. They're very resilient with all the things. Look, any business that's still operating today should be celebrating. They are doing extremely well compared to a lot of other places, particularly in Australia, but also around the world. So we're doing okay.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I'm very upbeat and positive about the next 12 to 18 months for our region. I think what you touched on is true. I think there's going to be a renewed look at local manufacturing and value lead to new business development opportunities for our region, which is fantastic.
Data centres, technology parks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exciting.
Absolutely. Touch on before we finish up this morning is, as we've touched on, a lot of businesses have had to work through challenges over the last 12 months. They've had to pivot, but what do you see are some of the longer term trends that have come out of this period that you think will stay with businesses going forward?
Okay, so first thing that crops up is remote working. So a lot of people are still working from home, even if it be a few days a week, in relation to reducing costs around, you don't need to rent huge offices space or whatever it may be, because people can work from home. So I think that's one of them. Also, people, because they've been working from home, have set their offices up so it's a technology hub in people's houses now. So again, that's great as well. And I can see that a lot of those people working from home will probably also have a side hustle as well. So they'll start developing their own home-based businesses while they're working from home. And I don't see that as a bad thing. A lot of employees I speak to these days, how businesses run, and probably helps them put, with a bit of empathy, putting their feet in the shoes of their employer about what they go through.
Change will be one of those things that helps showcase the opportunities in regional areas for businesses that they can set up or have staff remotely working, still ticking off the objectives and the expectations of their employer, which I think could be a real opportunity for our region. But look, Steve, that's where we're going to finish up this morning. It's been fantastic to learn more about your business, your journey, and what's the easiest way for them to engage with you to learn more, I guess, about the Persuader, about Steve Semmens and some of the support that you can provide.
So go to and then I'm also on, you can easily find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Just started using Instagram, so I don't know how that's going, but anyway. And also phone number 0412 522 771. Please give me a call anytime. Particularly, I love discussing business. So anybody that's really passionate about growing businesses, please give me a call.
Good on you, Steve. Thanks so much for your time this morning. It's been fantastic.
You.
So look, we'll be sure to put those details up for Steve after this morning's chat. But for everybody else, you have a great day and a fantastic weekend.